My name is Susan. I'm standing outside the courthouse, the weight of the judge's ruling still echoing in my ears. The man who'd called me his daughter for 21 years stands at the bottom of the steps, looking diminished. His suit jacket hangs open, and his tie is loosened. I take a deep breath and start to recall how I got here. I grew up in a small town in Texas, in a house owned by Mr. and Mrs. Thompson. Mr. Thompson was a strict and cold man, always quick to criticize. Mrs. Thompson was passive, often going along with her husband's decisions. Their biological daughter, Lily, was 24 and lived a life of privilege compared to me.
I was 22 at the time.
Every Saturday, I'd wake up at 5 a.m. to start my chores. One particular Saturday was Mr. Thompson's 58th birthday. The night before, Mrs. Thompson had left a long list of tasks on the kitchen counter. I was to clean the entire house, set up for the party, and prepare the food. My room was a small attic space with a slanted ceiling and no proper ventilation. I had a single bed and a few tattered clothes. Lily, on the other hand, had a large bedroom with a walk-in closet and all the latest gadgets. I'd saved up for months to buy Mr. Thompson a hand-carved wooden pipe from a local craftsman. It cost me a small fortune, considering I was working part-time at a diner, earning minimum wage. I wrapped it in brown paper, because I couldn't afford a fancy gift bag. When the party started, Mr. Thompson was dressed in a sharp suit, looking every bit the important man. Lily arrived late, as usual, and presented him with a high-end golf set. He beamed with pride and hugged her tightly. I, meanwhile, was busy serving drinks and food to the guests. When it was time to open the gifts, I stepped forward with my package.
Mr.
Thompson took it, looked at it disdainfully, and then ripped it open. "What kind of useless thing is this?" he roared in front of all the guests. "I've given you a roof over your head, and this is the best you can do?" Before I could say a word, he slapped me across the face. The sound of the slap was deafening in the suddenly silent room. I tasted blood in my mouth and felt a bruise forming on my cheek. Without a second thought, I ran to my attic, grabbed my backpack, and stuffed in a few clothes, a toothbrush, and an old envelope I'd found in the attic years ago. I didn't know what was in it then, but I'd kept it anyway. As I walked out of the house, the cold Texas night air hit my face. I walked aimlessly down the street, the pain on my cheek a constant reminder of my situation. After a while, a black SUV pulled up beside me. A man in his late 50s stepped out. He was tall and had kind eyes, the same color as mine. "I'm sorry to startle you," he said, his voice trembling. "My name is Mr. Harris, and I believe I'm your biological father." I was in shock. I'd always been told my biological parents didn't want me. But as he showed me a photo of a woman who looked just like me, I started to believe him. Next to him was a woman, a lawyer named Ms. Reed. She explained that they'd been tracking my situation for a while. They knew about the abuse and the unfair treatment I'd endured. They also told me the story of how my mother had died in a car accident when I was a toddler, and Mr. Harris had been in a coma. A corrupt social worker named Mr. Davis had forged his signature to give me up for adoption. I was taken to a hotel where Mr. Harris and Ms. Reed provided me with a safe place to stay. I started to remember all the signs of abuse and neglect. I'd been cooking and cleaning for the Thompsons since I was 10. I'd never had my own ID or birth certificate. Mr. Thompson had always said I was a burden, but now I realized I was a source of income for them. The state had been paying them a subsidy for my care, and they'd kept every cent. 2 weeks before the birthday party, Mr. Thompson had tried to get me to sign a document that would give him control over my state benefits even after I turned 22. I'd refused, and that's why he'd hit me at the party. Mr. Harris arranged for a DNA test. While we waited for the results, he brought me an album of photos of my mother. In the pictures, she looked so happy, and I could see so much of myself in her. On the 5th day, Ms. Reed called with the results. 998% probability of paternity. I finally had proof that I was Mr. Harris's daughter. The Thompsons, realizing I might expose their fraud, reported me missing to the police. But the police couldn't do anything since I was a legal adult. That night, I heard Mr. Thompson pacing the living room, worried that I'd talked to someone. Reed gathered evidence of the forged signature, the bribe to Mr. Davis, and the misuse of the subsidy funds. 2 days before the court date, I received a letter from Mr. Thompson. It was full of false apologies and threats, trying to get me to come back. In court, Ms. Reed presented the DNA results, the forensic handwriting analysis, and the financial records. The Thompsons' lawyer tried to defend them, but the evidence was overwhelming. I decided to speak in court. I told the judge about my life with the Thompsons, the abuse, the neglect, and the exploitation. Then, to everyone's surprise, Mrs. Thompson stood up and confessed. She admitted to writing the check to Mr. Davis at her husband's request. Mr. Thompson's face turned red with anger and fear. The judge reviewed the evidence and declared my adoption void. The Thompsons were ordered to pay back the subsidy money, and the case was referred to the district attorney's office for further investigation. As I walked towards the SUV with Mr. Harris and Ms. Reed, I look back at Mr. Thompson. He stands there, alone, watching me leave. I know that my life has changed forever. I'm finally free from the lies and abuse, and I'm ready to start a new chapter with my real family. 6 months later, I'm living in an apartment in the city. I'm studying for my college entrance exams and working part-time at a bakery. Mr. Harris and I have dinner together every Sunday. We're still getting to know each other, but there's a bond between us that can't be broken. The Thompsons are awaiting trial, and Lily has moved out of the family home. I go to therapy to deal with the trauma, and every day, I'm learning to trust again. This isn't about revenge. It's about accountability. I want others who are in similar situations to know that they're not alone and that they deserve to be treated with love and respect.